Good morning, fight fans. I'm that boxing writer, Jeremy Harridges, and welcome to another edition of Boxing and Coffee. I was off last week because I was very busy. Had just one of those busy weeks where I was catching up on different writing assignments and interviews and things of that nature. Talked to a lot of great boxers, and some things occurred last week that unfortunately mean that some of the interviews I conducted last week are no longer relevant. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. A couple reminders: I am drinking coffee from the Real Good Coffee Company of Seattle, Washington. I'm going to continue to drink this throughout the month and give you my final assessment on it. I'm still trying to form an opinion on it. I'm still trying to get adjusted to this coffee. And again, I don't want to give a review on it just on preliminary findings. I want to make sure that I have some experience with it before I get into it. It is the morning right now on Wednesday, June 2nd. So good morning to everybody. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, it's been a busy week. For those of you guys that don't know, when I'm not writing about boxing, I'm a high school English teacher. So last week was the last week of school where, I'm rushing, trying to get through papers and making sure everybody's grades are in and correct. It was definitely a different school year, unlike any other, but you can definitely see the normalcy on the horizon, which is the nice part, that we are starting to return back to normal in all facets of life, and it's great to see that occurring. So next year, with the next semester of students, I hope to see my classrooms full, and looking forward to having that normal experience again. So right now, as you can see, I'm not in the studio. I'm not necessarily off location. I'm at my home base here, but it's such a beautiful day. I thought, why not take it to the backyard patio? So this isn't my boxing happy place. This is just kind of like my moment of Zen happy place. It's very quiet back here. Knock on wood. Watch now. Now I'm going to jinx myself, and there's going to be some loud disturbances. But I thought, yeah, let's take it outside. Let's just do a little boxing talk out here. Yesterday was Tuesday, June 1st, which was my 37th birthday. So thank you to all the friends and family that helped make 37 special for me. I appreciate you guys and love you guys more than you can ever imagine. You made me feel very special on my birthday. My amazing wife, Heather, had a whole boxing themed birthday for me where she had 12 rounds of presents, and she's very crafty, and she had like the table set up like a boxing ring, and then the cake went in a boxing ring, and it was really cool. So she knows me really well, and she knows what makes me tick. So of course, a boxing theme to the birthday was really the cherry on top. So thank you to everybody that made it a special day for me. And here we are in the middle of Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul fight week. Yeah, I just said that, and it's weird to say it because I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. Um, so that's going to be the focus of this video. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different things going on within the boxing world, but that's going to be the focus for today. Just kind of taking a look at the fight, the card, a preview. I don't know how much of a prediction it's going to be. I usually like to save those things for Friday, but do we really need a prediction in that fight? I mean, really, do we need a prediction of how it's going to go? I don't think so. Now, when they first talked about doing this months ago, I came out with a video that was pretty harsh to the idea. I ragged it pretty well, talking about how it's unnecessary, it's ridiculous, it's this, that, and the other. And I've softened my stance to a degree. Do I still think it's a ridiculous matchup? Sure, yeah. You got a boxer that's 50-0, one of the best of all times, and he's fighting a 0-1 YouTuber who lost his lone fight to a fellow YouTuber in a very ugly display. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But, if that sensationalism is going to stir up attention, and people are going to tune in to see it, kind of like a train wreck, you kind of can't keep your eyes off of it, then so be it. It's my dog behind me, Kato. I don't know if you can see him. He's a big white fluff ball trying to where is he? There he is. There's Kato. He's a good boy. He's probably pretty hot right now. It's quite perfect right now. It's like, ooh, 72 degrees. It's gone up 4 degrees since I've been out here. So enjoying it. Back to the lecture at hand. So yeah, my feeling on it now is if it's gonna draw in viewers and Logan Paul's following is gonna buy into it and jump in, then so be it. If as long as it's gaining attention and it's bringing eyes to boxing, then who am I to criticize it? So I don't have a problem with the event happening. It's happening with Showtime, and there are some legit boxing matches on the card. So again, I'm looking at it from the aspect of entertainment. I'm not looking at it as a real boxing match. I'm looking at it as it's entertainment. Take it for what it is. It's an exhibition. I'm treating it like an exhibition. So I've softened my stance on that quite a bit. Still ridiculous, but hey, it's Floyd Mayweather, and if Floyd Mayweather wants to jump into the ring with a social media star, he's earned the right to do what he wants to do at this point of his career. So I'll be watching it. The weigh-in will be interesting. I'm really interested to see what those final weights are going to be. What is going to be the weight disparity? I mean, there's a 6-inch height disparity, but as we know, that doesn't mean anything. You have one guy that's used to being punched and hitting other people, and the other guy looked really rough in his last outing. Not to say that he's not athletic. He is. Not to say that he can't do damage in there. He's a big guy, and I'm sure he can punch with some power, but that doesn't make you a boxer. If you look at the two Pauls, there's no doubt about it that Jake Paul is the better puncher and has more boxing talent than Logan Paul. And plus, you have Jake now, signing on to do some stuff with Showtime as well. Now that we have, the Woodley fight set, that'll be interesting too. So hey, we'll see how it goes. Is it Jake Paul that's whatever? So that's what we got going on there. The one fight that I was really looking forward to on this card was Badu Jack versus Jean Pascal, the rematch. And unfortunately, we're not getting that one after Jean Pascal tested positive for 3 different PEDs. He's come out and said, I didn't know I was taking them. I took them unknowingly, yada, 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 whatever. The bottom line is he tested dirty. And now I think the guy's name is Dervin Colina, who's 15-0, will be the new replacement opponent for Jean Pascal. So, hey, we'll take it. We'll roll with the punches on this one, and we'll keep doing what we're doing. Looking at Dervin Colina, he hasn't really beaten anybody of substance. He's got a nice record, and really an unknown quantity. So not a guy that we can sit here and say has really got a chance at beating Badu Jack. But anytime you got someone that's got some boxing experience and has a little bit of ability, and they can punch, hey, let's say that they have a chance. So Dervin Colina is the late substitute, does have 13 KOs, so does seem to have a little bit of power. But again, if you take a look at his record, not a whole lot there as far as substance goes. But there's only so many people you're going to grab at the last minute, and they found a guy with an unbeaten record. So, man, I really wanted to see that Pascal and Jack fight. I talked to both of them that week before, obviously, the positive PED test came out for Jean Pascal. I talked to Pascal literally the day before his positive test came out. So, he was feeling quite confident. Jack was feeling quite confident. Each was eager to prove that they were the better fighter. each thought that they could stop the other, each thought that they were close to winning the last fight, which they were. It was a great fight. Uh, the thing that cracked me up was Pascal's break from reality, saying that that last 12th round knockdown delivered by Jack wasn't a legitimate knockdown. He's like, oh no, no, it was a push. He didn't really hurt me. I'm like, I sat back and right before I interviewed him, I watched that fight and specifically that sequence like 10 times over and over and over on replay. And it's like, it's pretty clear that it was a knockdown and that he hit him squarely on the chin. So it's like, man, come on, you got to accept reality here. The dude knocked you down, and then you held him for the last minute and a half of the 12th round because you were seriously hurt. Don't play it off like you weren't hurt. You were holding on for dear life. So I'm not sure if Pascal is really dealing in reality. The fact that he's denying that, and now the PED test is like, okay, you say too many crazy things to where I'm going to believe you. Especially when it comes to PEDs, I just, tend to look at the evidence and say, hey, you had these things in your system. You should be able to explain them, but you can't. Now, I believe the guy's name was Angel Heredia. It's been linked to PEDs and things like that in the past, and everyone's saying, well, wait a second, you had this guy as your strength and conditioning coach, and you're surprised that you turned out a positive test. And it's hard to imagine that the two of them weren't communicating about what was going into his body. Is that to say that the guy was giving him stuff that maybe he didn't know was going in his system? I suppose, but if that were the case, if you were ingesting things that you were told were one thing but then ended up being the other, wouldn't you then go and sue the other party for basically the destruction of your legitimacy, your credibility, your career, your earnings that you were going to make off of this fight? That would be the first thing I'd be doing, is saying, okay, you gave me these supplements, I put them in my body, you told me they were one thing, they were another, I'm taking you to court. That would be my first move. We haven't heard any of that yet. Maybe he's going to do that. I don't know, but it doesn't quite add up. If someone's destroying my career without me being on board with it, then yeah, I'm gonna Cato. Then I'm gonna look for some justice in that account. Um, but so far we haven't heard that yet. All we've heard is Pascal deny and say, I'm gonna pay for even stricter drug testing. VADA did its thing. It found someone who was using PEDs, and that's what we know. We know he had PEDs in the system, and you're responsible for what goes in your body, as many people have said. Fights off. So I hope Adu Jack, makes the most of the moment against a replacement opponent. Sad that we're not going to see it. 2 interviews I can't use now because it was driven by what they were saying about each other. And it was a quite entertaining back and forth. I used a little bit of it when I did my What's Next for Badu Jack piece on fansided.com, which you can go check out, where basically they talked about the mutual respect that they have for one another. I have a feeling if I was going to interview Jack right now, he'd have a different tone, considering on some of the things he put out on social media. So that part, I don't know. I don't think we're going to see those two fight again. Anyway, other events on the card, you have Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson versus Brian Maxwell in a 4-round exhibition, which is billed as cruiserweights. Maxwell had some experience in the BKFC, if I'm correct. Again, one of those celebrity fights that are kind of making their way into the mainstream, and it'll be interesting to see how Showtime handles that. I know that typically we see Triller as the carrier of premium, celebrity sensationalistic quasi boxing bouts, but it's Showtime, so I think they're kind of taking a page out of the Triller 1 event that we saw with Tyson, where you have some boxing legitimacy mixed with some, boxing oddity, which worked in that first Triller event. Didn't work so much the second time with the Jake Paul thing. That was kind of that was kind of show. Let's put it that way. I'm trying. I don't like to curse on these things, but yeah, it was a mess. Um, so I think that Showtime is going to handle this with a bit of professionalism, and which they always do, and which will give us more of a credibility and more of a legitimacy. So you got that, but again, losing that Jack versus Pascal fight was a big hit. Sorry, got a plane flying by, so you're probably going to be picking that up a little bit, but I'm going to keep going on here. Um, I mean, really now, so with Jack and Pascal off, I mean, yeah, you still have Jack on the card, but that's a big hit because that was really the best fight on the entire card as far as like competitive bouts go. The other one is Jarrett Hurd versus Luis Arias. Um, I talked to both of them on the media call, and you know, Arias is always going to give you a tough fight. I think that his offense tends to get a little bit dormant in bouts. I know you're going to look at the 18-2-1 record, the fact that he's 0-2-1 in his last three fights. Um, but he's never been knocked out. He's never been stopped. He's a guy that'll give people rounds. And for the most part, he's lost to some quality opponents. So it's a good comeback fight for Jarrett Hurd. But Jarrett Hurd's the one that I'm really interested in seeing. A big-bodied, super welterweight. Former unified champion. Was really looking like he was the best super welter in the world at one point, and then that 2019 loss to Julian Williams, where it saw him knocked down, saw him bullied around by Julian Williams, was just a very uncharacteristic performance from Jarrett Hurd, and that has a lot of people questioning, well, what's left for Jarrett Hurd at this point? I mean, he's not old. He's 30 years old, so really you'd think that he still has that boxing prime left in him, but the way he fights, toe to toe, taking punishment to deliver his own blows, there's only so many punches you can take. And I kind of liken it to Alfredo Angulo. Obviously, Hurd is a much more talented athlete and boxer than Angulo ever was. But that similar style, that pressure fighter who's gonna, curl up in a guard, try to take the shots and then deliver their own. Um, when you're not moving your shoulders and you're not trying to avoid punishment, you're absorbing all that. And that's going to have a cumulative effect, which is why you see guys break down quickly over times. That we look at them and we say they have granite chins until that chin has been worn down so much from previous punishment that there's nothing left. And we're questioning, is that where Jarrett Hurd's at? Is he an old 30 because of the way he fights? Now, if you saw in the last fight that he had in January of 2020 against Francisco Santana, he tried to box more and do different things, change his style a bit. He told me that, he was kind of experimenting, and that's the way he viewed that fight. Didn't look his best, but I'm hoping that he's been in the gym. He had a big weight gain. I think he said he got up to like 210 pounds or something like that, which is not a good sign. But he's working with Kay Karoma, who's a great trainer, tends to bring out the best in the athletes that he trains. So I'm hoping to see a good performance from Jarrett Hurd. It'll really help us see what's left for him. Can he bounce back into the title picture, or are his best years behind him? Is the damage done? Can he learn new tricks at this point? Yeah, just such a talent, and I'd really like to see him get back to where he was. And the other thing is, how much of that was physical and how much of it was mental? Losing a fight when your confidence is way up here, for some fighters, boom, brings you down there, and it creates something where it's really hard to get out of, a depression of sorts. So, mentally, I hope he's able to rebound from that loss, because so far I don't think he's fully recovered from it. I don't think he's gotten that confidence back. So I think that what everyone's looking for here is for this to be his confidence builder in this fight. So we'll wait and see. But that's the fight that I'm most interested in is Hurd versus Arias, and we'll see how that plays out. But don't forget, Mayweather versus Paul is not on Saturday. It is on Sunday, June 6th. So make sure that you guys keep reading my columns up on fansided.com/boxing. And thank you to the people that helped me jump over 100 subscribers. I think we're like at 105 now. Hey, let's keep pushing that dial up. I'll talk with you guys a little bit more. We got like 5 fight cards next weekend. I'm not going to be covering them live because I've got my anniversary with my wife that weekend. So boxing, I'm giving it a rest. But all the build up to fight week, I'll have interviews and stories and things like that. So if you're new, make sure to click subscribe. And thanks for watching. Cheers.